Hello, and welcome to my channel. Today, I'm drawing the characters from Phineas and Ferb. Now, Phineas and Ferb is one of those shows that I personally didn't watch it growing up, but I'd heard from other people that it was basically like a staple of their childhood. Like, I've heard that it's really good, and so I was like, might as well watch it, even though the plotline sounded kind of stupid. I mean, a secret agent platypus? Like, come on. So I decided to watch it anyways, but it did end up being kind of boring and repetitive. Which is totally fine because it's a kid's show, and a lot of kids' shows are repetitive. But it just felt like we were basically watching the same episode every time. Just like slightly different, like they were building something different or whatever, but the main plot line was exactly the same. And I didn't even really get into the show until about 2 or 3 seasons in, which is really rare for me. Like, I don't know of a single show that I have not fully binged. This was a show to where I could go a day or so without watching it and not be like freaking out because I have to know what happens next. The first character for me to find interesting was Candace, because she just had the most development or like the most things going on throughout the first few seasons. Because despite the fact that she spent most of her time trying to bust her brothers, she did have other things going on, like her love interest and that sort of thing, whereas most of the other characters pretty much did the exact same thing every time. But that's not to say that this show was bad, because I actually did end up really enjoying it. It just took me a little bit longer to connect to the characters and find it interesting. I also felt like the story itself was really repetitive, but as it went on, the writers were able to kind of figure out where they were going with the show and make it more interesting. Which, like I said, there was nothing wrong with the show. It worked as a kid's show. I just found it a little bit boring or repetitive at times because I'm not a kid, which is the target audience. I think it was about the 3rd season in that it started to get more interesting, and I started to kind of care about the characters more. Like I said before, Candace was the first character that I really found interesting, and because of that, she was probably my favorite character. I also ended up really liking Doofenshmirtz and Perry the Platypus, which I was not expecting. I just can't get over how adorable Perry is. Like, he makes the cutest little expressions. I love him. I don't know why, I just find him so adorable. And I love when Doofenshmirtz is like, a platypus, and then Perry puts on his hat, and he's like, Perry the Platypus! I don't know why, but that gets me every time. Which is so dumb. Like, does that mean that I have the humor of a child? Maybe. But that was probably my favorite running joke. I also, of course, ended up liking Phineas and Ferb. I feel like the writers could have done a little bit of a better job making Ferb a more memorable character, despite the fact that he doesn't talk that much. I'm just saying, for a show that's called Phineas and Ferb, it seems to kind of be more about Phineas than it is about Ferb. But yeah, I also wasn't expecting some of the songs to be that good. Some things I thought were interesting about the design of the show was the fact that the main characters had very, like, weird proportions, or like shaped heads basically, like, you know, Phineas and his triangle head. But pretty much all of the other characters looked pretty normal, which was probably just the writers not wanting to spend time to make background characters look super unique, because they're background characters, it doesn't really matter. But I just found it kind of odd because it was like, why do these characters have such weird proportions? Like, is this normal? Do they know in the show? Like, they clearly know Phineas has a triangle-shaped head in the show, yet nobody else has anything even close to that, except for maybe Doofenshmirtz. But even so, like, is that normal? Why is nobody questioning this when nobody else looks anything like that? I just think that's so weird. Or like Isabella with her head that's like half of an oval. Or the fact that in universe, Candace has a weirdly long neck. Like, that is so crazy to me that nobody questions this in universe. Like, pretty much everybody else looks pretty normal. Why do the main characters all look weird and everybody knows they look weird? All I'm trying to say is, why does nobody question these characters' weirdly shaped heads when pretty much everybody else looks normal, you know? Anyways, moving on from that crazy side tangent, I also noticed that most of the characters have blue eyes, which I found really odd since blue is obviously not a dominant gene, Blue eyes are not the most common eye color, so why is it that like all of the characters in the show have blue eyes? Were they just supposed to have like black eyes, but they didn't want to give them just like black dots, so they made them blue? I don't know. I found that kind of weird. I wonder if there's like some sort of reason for that, or if they were just actually like, yeah, let's give all the characters blue eyes. But yeah, for my picture, finally getting to my picture, I decided to just do a cute sitting under the tree kind of thing. I feel like this has probably happened after Candace tried to bust her brothers, and then the mom is like, why don't you go and sit under a tree and take a picture? And so she's like mad, and Ferb is just having a blank expression on his face like normal, and Phineas is being super energetic, and Perry is being super adorable. And yeah, I don't really have much to say about this picture. I kind of tried to make the characters look somewhat similar. Like I tried to give Ferb a slightly more square face, and Phineas a more angular face, and Candace a more round face. Another thing that I tried to do was make the characters look younger. I usually draw characters that are more teenage young adult, so I was definitely trying to keep Phineas and Ferb looking more like 10, and I actually feel like I kind of succeeded with that. And yeah, overall, I like the way this picture turned out. I think it turned out pretty cute. In the end, I ended up really liking this show. I wouldn't say it's like a favorite of mine, but it's definitely really fun, and it was enjoyable to watch despite being a little bit boring at times, a little bit repetitive at times. As it went on and as I cared more about the characters and kind of what was going on, it was more enjoyable to watch. So yeah, I would go on record to say this was a good show, and I get why people like it. So tell me, was this a show that you watched growing up? And who are your favorite characters?
feet, 'cause I can't stop moving my feet. And I feel like popping and locking, rolling and rocking, shaking and shocking. What causes energy boiling up inside of me? And I feel like popping and locking, rolling and rocking, shaking and shocking, 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 shaking and shocking.
Fall into my infinite sky, rise through the deep beyond gravity.
And here's the finished picture. I hope you like it. It's not perfect, but I think it turned out pretty cute. If you have any ideas for other things you'd like to see me draw, let me know. I hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching.